Welcome back to the stream. Welcome, welcome. I hope everyone's day is going really fantastic. Just gonna adjust the sound. We'll leave it there for now. All right, new day, new painting. This white feels pretty good. Grabbing the yellow still good. This ochre though, I don't feel very confident about. Yeah, no, that ochre is dead. It's really, I wonder if I can even show it as to why it's kind of, okay, wait, I have to be holding it though. See how let me do it up here. Oh yeah, there we go. But it, I don't really know. It's just very like goosey and stretchy and let's just say nasty. And it's sad that it has to go bye-bye, but there is life. Oh, I'm getting, oh no, I'm getting it all over the palette. The burnt umber from yesterday is still really juicy. That was the one I had problems with yesterday. I'm going to take a little bit of the vacuum body linseed oil from Rublev. Just a tad of it. I'm going to add it in. I was thinking about that this morning, that this stuff is a medium viscosity bodied linseed oil, and it helps increase the kind of like the stickiness of it. Instead of adding linseed oil, which thins it, this one makes it a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it, thicker. Though, I don't know if that's a good one to use. I mixed it in, it didn't really do as much. I could add more. I don't know, I'm just playing with the paint. Back in the day when artists would make their paint, well, there's so much oil in this one. Make their paint from scratch, which is not actually that difficult to do. Which is really crazy that it's not that difficult to do. It's, oh, paint is so cool. But they'd have like their apprentice go in and mix the paint in the morning and then adjust it. So they would use things like the linseed oil and the vacuum body, or things like that. Different mediums to adjust it. Okay, so I just grabbed a little bit more. And it is less juicy. No, this one's like, I don't even know what a soupy quality is. But it moves and then it like fades out. So that's not going to be strong enough. I'm going to add a little bit of vacuum bodied oil to that one though. To the new stuff. Good morning if you're just joining the stream. Good morning, good morning. Ah! Woo! I just got it on my fingers. Oh no, oh no, no. Oh boy. It is much stickier than normal linseed oil. The vacuum bodied stuff. Usually it's the kind of paint or the kind of medium you'd add on your palette. I'm going to get rid of this one that was from yesterday. Even adding a little bit more, it's just getting kind of unmanageable. I was saying something right before that. What was I saying? It's gone. I don't know what I was saying. Oh my goodness. Okay, well. Yep, if it comes back, it'll come back. Oh my. Wow, it's just actually gone. Okay, anyway. So the painting is by William Dyce, who was a Scottish artist. And I was reading the Wikipedia page. He supported himself by doing portraits, so from live models, and then he Hold on, gotta grab the right colors. But he always preferred religious subjects. So in his free time, he would do like the religious subjects, and later in life, he would do it a lot more. Grabbing some yellow ochre and then cad red, and that should be enough for the day. Enough colors for the day. That is Alizarin. This one's the cad red, which I thought was really cool. It's not always like most artists who painted religious subjects were religious in one way or another. Some, like Fra Angelico, were extremely religious, being monks. And some in later in life were, like Bernini, the sculptor. He had like a conversion later in life, and I believe Michelangelo also kind of did. But I don't remember as much about him. I shouldn't have taken away, actually. I took away some of the oil as that one spewed out a ton, because I was worried about it happening like the burnt umber yesterday, but no, I won't adjust it, but it is a little bit thinner. Or thicker, I'm sorry, much thicker than usual. That one goes there. And then I think I'm gonna, well, this painting doesn't have much black. Okay, I will mix the palette and then decide if I want to add more black to it. And then the yellow ochre. Let me turn this down just a little bit. And then wipe off the palette. Mixing and prepping the colors lower on the palette, especially in a wood palette. Well, only in a wood palette would this matter. It leaves a little residue of oil, which is nice to mix in all of the paints and kind of evenly give it just a little bit more kick, more oomph, so it doesn't sink in quite as much. It also makes it very shiny, so that's why you get glare. My bad. Can't really avoid that though. And wood palettes are better. Hold on. I need to start mixing the colors. I feel like I'm missing a color. I'm going crazy. Okay, I'll mix it up here. Here we go. So, as usual, a little bit of yellow, a little bit for a pink, and a little bit for the peachy pink. I'm gonna grab a little bit of extra since I don't really want to add more white. And I'll leave that as enough white for the day. Grabbing just a little bit of yellow. This is a warm white now. A white that looks really nice with skin. And keeps the painting from getting super cold. It's also very yellow, but I'm not gonna, I don't want to add more. So I'll leave that, and if I want more pure white, then I will add more pure white as the day goes on. Part of the process of learning how to paint, I was gonna say learning how to paint well. Learning how to paint well is learning how to not waste a ton of paint and to mix the prepping colors quickly and efficiently in the morning. So on that note, I'm not gonna stress if it's a little bit too yellow, because I know for sure I'm gonna be mixing all of the colors a lot. I was saying something about William Dyce. Oh, a weird thing about this painting. I literally don't know, because I didn't actually take art history. But I was looking for the title of the painting again, so I could make sure it was right. That is the same color. I'm going to add a little bit more and make that a little bit darker. But he did this painting, I think either twice or he went over. No, he couldn't have gone over the original painting because it's from the 1800s. Right, what did I put in the description? I put the date in the description. I think it's 1845 that he did this painting. So either he did this painting, this exact same pose twice. Exact same pose. If you go between the two photos, they are literally the same exact pose. But in one of them, Mary has a veil. And Jesus... And then the other one, she doesn't. But Jesus's face also looks different. A little bit her face shifted. And was like adjusted. So I don't know if this was a later version of the painting or an earlier version. But this one, when I pull it down, this is the one that is in like the castle museum that owns the painting. This is what it currently looks like. I was so shocked when I saw it. I was like, wait, either he did it twice or like, I don't know, he went over it and somehow we have a scan of both. I don't even know what happened. I was starting to get all existential. I was like, am I even painting? Like, or is this like the actual William Dyce? Or am I painting like someone's reproduction inspired by William Dyce's? So now I'm really curious about that, and I want to go learn more about William and what happened. But this one looks much more like a religious painting. Mostly because the veil. Mary needs to have a veil in order for it to look recognizably as like the Virgin and Child rather than just like a mother and child, which can be good. So here I'm mixing, since I didn't talk about any of these, this was just cad red and white, cad red, white, and yellow, cad yellow, and white. So basically using those three in various amounts makes a good base for the skin tones. This is black and ochre as a sympathetic color, green, and then the same thing, lighter. And then we need ochre and red. Just a tiny bit of red. And then I'll do just a little bit more red. I usually like to mix 2 of each color, even though I tend to end up using like I was noticing the other day that I was just pulling from both piles of the same color, and it's like, why don't I just mix the in-between color and like call it a day? I don't know. But I don't. And then I'll grab just a little bit of alizarin plus black plus umber. The paint colors, if you aren't used to the ones that are on this palette, I have it in the description as well. And that's it. No, hold on. We're going to start with the sky. So I want to add, this is ultramarine. Oh no. Oh no, the ultramarine has died. Okay, I'm going to get rid of it and grab some new ultramarine. It is like the yellow ochre, very sticky and not good. It's been sitting on the palette, essentially unused, for, when did I pour it out? I think I did it on like Friday's stream or something. I added more ultramarine, and then I proceeded to not use it on any of the days. Oops. So I'll just take a little bit more. I don't want a lot, because she's not wearing a blue veil. She's wearing a white veil. Or, well, she's not wearing a mantle this time. But once again, white for purity, red for the Passion of Jesus, and then blue would be for heaven. Oh, I guess I'm mixing it down here. Whatever, I'm just mixing a light blue that I'll use as the basis for the sky. Though, now that I'm looking at it, I almost want to grab some cobalt blue. Woo! Don't drop that. Cobalt blue is usually a very good blue for the sky. I think it has, by its nature, it's a little bit more opaque. So it looks like it has a little bit of white in it. And then the mixing quality of it, oh shoot, that had a lot of oil in it too. I haven't used my cobalt in a very long time, because I haven't painted skies really. Okay, that's good. And then I want to add a little bit of white to it. Oh, and we're out of white. I'm gonna get just a tiny bit more white on my palette. Okay, so based on my own lighting, you might not be able to tell the difference. And on the camera. And the stream quality and your monitor's quality. Wow, painting virtually fun. But the difference, oopsies. The difference of, no, you can't tell. I'm not even gonna explain it. Cobalt's a little bit more green. Ultramarine, I would say, is a bit more purple, is the big difference. White, that was one thing. There was definitely one more thing I had to do on my palette before I could get started. And just a little bit of white. All right. That was honestly probably too much white. I don't really want that much because I already did all my mixes, but Oh well. Get rid of that. All right, fresh palette. Let's start from the background and work our way in. This is definitely going to take more than one day. I already prepped 2 days of thumbnails, but honestly, it might take 3, depending on if I want to do Jesus entirely separate from Mary or not, or her clothes versus the thing. But also, you can see this like outline of her neck right there. I don't know if you can kind of see it. You can kind of see it in there. It's like he added the veil on top, but the other Mary painting had more brown hair, and Jesus, I think, had hair, and his eyes were a little bit different. He looks much softer and more serene in this one. The other one, he looked a bit more like... No, I can't even remember. He looked different. It was very interesting. If you want to, like, look it up, it's the William Van Dyce. Not Van Dyce. Just grab the description. I have the whole painting link, and you can throw it into Google search, and it will show you both. So it kind of looks like it went from ultramarine to a cobalt. So I'm going to start in the top. Do I want to add anything else? No, I'm going to start simple. With just some ultramarine and white. That's not quite as purple as that one little bit of purple right there. Just trying to make a little bit more, making a little bit of a darker version, seeing how that is. I think it does need, I need another color to be added in here. Not going to do alizarin. Because alizarin doesn't go well with white. You don't want to add alizarin to white mixes. You only want to use it in dark spots. So I'm going to add some cad red, which is probably going to make it too purple. And in a minute, I think I might just stop and try the cobalt. Oh, no, that's... Okay, it's not perfect, but that is kind of in the right direction. Also, I don't know what is about it, but it looks really watercolory. I'm fairly certain it said, though, that this was done in oil paints. I'm going to grab... Do I need a new brush? Yes, because I want to try just cobalt. The way that cobalt mixes with red will be very different from the way that cobalt mixes with ultramarine. Oh my goodness, it's like night and day. I can't even get a good angle on it. The best angle actually is when it's laying flat. You can't really tell, but maybe if I bring it up here. Since cobalt is more green, it's going to come out more brown with the red, because those are complementary colors. But with the ultramarine, it comes out a little bit more purple. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit something like that. Really, I kind of just, well, I do want to practice the landscaping. I love the countryside landscapes that the old masters used a lot. Especially Italy. It's just so beautifully Italian landscape. The Italian landscape is just gorgeous. It's little like rows of trees. Rolling hills. I think I need more white though. This is already going too dark. Yeah. Just straight into the white. Just coming right around the head. Okay, I'm like going a little slow. Though then again, whenever you have white on your brush, you have to go a little bit slower. Just the way that white is, all of the different paint colors work differently. Especially I feel the more professional the paint is, you have a higher pigment quality, or pigment to oil ratio, which is what makes it professional oil paints. Artist versus student grade. And in that, the different pigments mix differently with the oil. And white is very, whether titanium white or lead white or whatever it is, you have to go slower with it. So on the backgrounds that are really black, I can just drop those in extremely fast. But these ones, it does want to go a little bit slower. Also, what is actually going on with this cloud? It's going to want to go towards more white pretty much right now. This is also a little bit too dark. Okay, so it's good that I added more white to the palette. You know, I mixed all the skin tone colors, but I just realized that I don't think I'm even going to get to the skin today. I want to establish the other colors first. Oops. What was I saying about learning how to paint it? Learning how not to waste paint? Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna try to get that light color and then work my way back up. Which I probably should just grabbed a new brush, but oh well. Right around Jesus' face. Just look how tender that gaze is. In the past the past week and yesterday, I've done paintings from, one might say, too much of a variety of time periods. Quite a variety of time periods. I think the Bellini ones are the 1400s, and this one's 1800s. And art changed a lot in those years. My problem is I love so many different artists from the different time periods that I haven't settled down on one to really zone in on and paint like. Like in olden days, you would find the master artist and you would apprentice under them. And for kind of a lack of a better term, I don't know which artist I want to apprentice under. But that's like one of the ways of a master copy is to essentially apprentice under them. Centuries after they're dead. So a lot of people would like look at Rembrandt paintings and really learn Rembrandt and his style and things like that. Or just using it as practice for different things. In bouncing around, it kind of leaves me open to learn in kind of dramatic ways. Color matching, which I talked a little bit about whenever I was getting to the different skin tones. I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow because it needs some green. The sky is looking too happy and blue. Oh, that was barely a shift. Different skin tones, because in each of the different paintings, the skin tones are almost vastly different. Like even yesterday, it was more. What was it yesterday? It was kind of green, but mostly your normal color, which was throwing me off. The day before, wasn't it really yellow? And then the day before that, it was very orange. And then there was one that was really green. I don't know. Skin tones throughout the ages is just very, very different. This one, so far, just looking at it. Oh, no, that wants to be darker. The light is really just right there. Oh, I didn't draw the other half of his hair. It stops right about there. Yeah. So if you're thinking about trying out doing master copies, one, I would highly suggest it because it's really fun, and does really help hone some skills. And even within the process, though, or the one umbrella of a training style, one might say. There's different skills you can work on even within that. So I'd say I'm focusing more on color matching now while I play around and fall in love with different artists, and then I'm going to decide kind of which one is most. Though, I mean, looking at the future paintings and looking at the ones I've already done, I really love Bellini. But the unfortunate thing about Bellini is that particular painting style of faces All right, what am I doing? I'm getting a lot of scalloped. It's very watercolory. Very confused. How do I want to approach this? I think I want to get around and then I'm gonna get a big filbert first, and kind of pat out some of those scalloped edges. But Bellini's painting style is like halfway to iconic, meaning like iconography, without being iconography, being very much like an oil painting, which in the modern day, with the benefit of having photography and things like that, is very different. Also, I'm convinced that we as a people just look different than people did back then. Like, even just a simple hairstyle shift, like we look different. I was looking at a picture, the self-portrait of different artists throughout the years. And at first they always look so ridiculous and you're like, okay, well, self-portraits are hard, I guess. But then it's like, you look at the other paintings, they're like, no, they undoubtedly can paint people. So I don't know what's going on here. But like Bellini in particular looks so ridiculous. He has this floofy hairstyle. Oh, he looks so weird. But then there was someone else that I was looking up, and he looked very normal. He had like a mustache and a little goatee kind of thing. And I was like, it's the hairstyle more than anything else that kind of defines whether or not we think they look weird. Because there's also, do you ever notice that woman there's a portrait of a woman. Oh, then I started focusing for a second here. There's a portrait of a woman that she has a really high veil, and the hairline is like, oh, don't hit it, is like all the way back here, which isn't like that much farther back from like, you know, where ours are, or like a normal hairline. But the way it's pulled back, it just looks so off. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna add alizarin bread. It just looks awful. But then you sit there and you stare at it for longer and you're like, wait, okay, is it actually awful? And it's like, no, it's like, it's painted well. It's just what people look like. Never ceases to amuse me. But it makes like painting off of the very old masters a little bit harder. To like bridge over to modern with being able to look up references. So where I was going with that is that I love Bellini, and I'm a little sad that it would take a very long time to learn how to accurately paint people to look like that based off my own interpretations, you know. I almost want to make this even lighter right in the bottom. Also, speaking of the different blues, there's a very real chance that William used just neither cobalt nor ultramarine in these backgrounds. And sometimes, quite simply, color matching doesn't work because the colors are just wrong. I need to go darker in here. And I keep forgetting to grab dark paint and doing that. Okay, what am I missing up here? There's like this little side cloud. This one I'm determined not to rush. Yesterday I think I rushed the earlier stages, and that did not help in the later stages, and I ended up going rather poorly, sadly. But we try again. Oh, that was way too late. I'm going to try to establish a little bit more of the atmospheric clouds going across the sky. Okay, come on. Don't rush, she says 3 minutes later. Come on, go faster. I wanted to learn to paint clouds. That's what it takes, going slowly and thinking about it. I'm going to mix cobalt and ultramarine together. Because why not? Oh, but that's too dark. I wanted a bit of a light. I'm going to add a little bit of the yellow white. I talked about this on other days, but the varnish will yellow a painting always, because the varnish is a resin. I'm just not getting that cloud at all. So in some ways, painting accurately with a yellow tint on the paint is inaccurate to what the artist would have done originally, but is accurate to current day life because of the varnish. But it's kind of an interesting color. I don't really mind the yellow tint. It really harmonizes the whole painting. I'm gonna grab, well, I was gonna grab the darker brush, but then I realized that was the darker brush. I'm gonna grab a new brush. And I'm gonna try to get, okay, what if I had black? What would that look like? Black is a blue, so it's not that helpful. It's more of a yellow side. But then if I add red into that, what would that look like? Maybe I should add, like, burnt umber. How does that go? Oh, that's really dark. Okay, I'm gonna add some burnt umber. And some more ultramarine. Oh, that's just black. Wipe that off. I'm gonna go with cad red. I need more room. Cad red and ultramarine. What is that? Oh, it's such a that's so red. Holy cow. Okay, and then just a little bit of white. Because it is a cloud. It's not perfect. Oh, but that's... I would say that's a bit closer. It's a watercolor look, though. On a Euro round. Well, okay, hold on. Going back to that blue, the warm blue with the red. Adding a bit more up here. A bit more yellow. The question really just becomes, do I like it? And then the question follows, what is the point of the painting? It is to learn. Okay, except that I genuinely don't know what it's... How is that happening? Oh, dude, I'm about to Google if this is actually oil paint or if it's like tempera. Because tempera, you could almost get a little bit of a watercolor look. Potentially. No, it's not important. We're focusing on the painting. We embrace the challenges. I realize that there's a lot of other things I gotta work on. Like how to do variation in a sky. Ooh, just got that a little bit on her veil. Okay, I'm gonna grab a bit of this guy. Just pat it in a little bit. Just a little bit. while I'm just finishing this up, if you're watching, and you can leave a like, it would really help out. It tells YouTube that the video is good, and that maybe it should share it to more people. It's always very highly appreciated. Okay, what am I doing down here? Okay, what is this? There's like fun variation going on here that I'm just neglecting to do. Leaving this edge rough. Oh, wait, I can always go down here. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's the hair. Don't go too far. So right at the edge of the chin. And now it needs white to blend in. Alright, then the veil goes off the edge on that side. And then we got some nice mountain ranges on the bottom. Well, that was the other thing between this one and the one that was an exact copy, but without a veil. The mountains were different. The background changed. To do that color, I'm going to add, I think, black and ultramarine. I mean, black and ochre with the ultramarine. That'll tint it towards green. Yeah. And then carefully this, and then that's the book. And that one color is a little bit lighter. Like that, and like that. Okay, that's the shoulder, so don't paint that in. And then over here, it's much more green than blue on that side. Okay. So then adding white to this, or the yellow white, sure. A little bit more of the blue. Yep. Adding a little bit more white to that because I'm losing it. It's like the base color, and then we have some, oh gosh, this brush might be a bit too big. Just gently laying it in and then mixing it around. Yes, this whole thing. I shouldn't have put that all in the middle. That actually wants to be dark in the middle. Shifting it a little bit darker, I'm going to add a little bit more of the black ochre mix with this ultramarine. That needs to be white right under the ear, so I'm going to leave that. Adjusting that edge. It's not going to matter as much. I'll go back in when I get to the skin tone. This blue, swapping to the blue round, is a little bit darker. This transition is way too smooth. Adding some more white and some yellow white. Right around the edge. Helps make her neck pop a bit more when I get back to it. Though I don't know if I just added enough there. A little bit light. A little bit light. This edge does want to be light, and then the hair is on top. Giving it a bit of a glow. And then lighter right on the horizon line. Add more white. Come on. Okay, I'm just going to mix that in so the interior of the brush is more blue. And then add a little bit more. Okay. Just gonna kind of go around and add just a little bit more variation. Start with a very simple shape, one flat color, and then add the detail on top more and more. That's how I usually approach all of the things in a painting. And then like as time goes on, the different shapes, I'll try to find smaller shapes right off the bat, so it's a little less blending, more accurate from the start. There's a bit of a triangle shape here. And then up here, a little bit lighter, just kind of went dark. Kind of like it though, not gonna lie. All right, and then instead of making that smooth, kind of blending and giving it a ruffled edge. And go. These bands are a little too even. Oh, I notice I do tend to do things very evenly, more like mathematically. But life is much more organic than that, even though, of course, even like nature and stuff has a lot of mathematical concepts in it, you know, Fibonacci, all of that. Making things uneven on purpose makes a composition much more interesting. Saying and doing, though, sometimes do very different things. That shape, for instance, is way too big. I want it to be like this little tiny little nugget cloud. Oh, you're getting glare there because of my brush strokes. My bad. Can I fix any of these? Going in a certain direction will fix brush stroking in certain directions will fix glare. Like that, I got rid of some of that by going diagonally down. Because my light is diagonally up in that direction. But I'm not going to be able to fix all of it, and nor do I really want to, because I don't want it to be super linear and smooth in the brush strokes. I do want it to be very variated. So I'm kind of just going to stop there, and we're just going to have to deal with the fact that it's a little bit weird. Also, I lost this corner of her veil. Oh well, I'll go back in with the dark when I get there. What else am I thinking for the bottom? I actually no, I like this brush. This color. Yeah, just as I thought. It is darker than I anticipated. It goes like that. And I'm making it too tall. Oh no. Laying it in. That one's it's gonna transition down to more blue, so I'm gonna add some more ultramarine to that black ochre mix. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a hashtag uncertain kind of day, I guess. Oh no, am I gonna sneeze? I really hope I don't. No, I think we're good. I need more ultramarine. I'm getting too much light. I need a stronger dark. So ultramarine and the ochre black mix. Okay, no, that's a little bit dark. But let's try it. This... Oh, I said I wanted that to be more green. This is also not the right angle. And then there's some definition here. Ooh, which that was the exact same color, so nothing popped out of that. And then right by the book. I'm gonna grab the lighter brush, even if it's the sky color, to just kind of subtly blend that stuff in. Okay, also the hair does not go in a nice little perfect bob. I'm gonna add some of the light. Cut it in a little bit there, and then I think the rest of it is gonna go on top of the background. And that'll be okay. Adding more of the ochre black mix to go much more green without going vibrant green, so I'm not adding cad yellow, I'm adding the ochre instead. A bit more of the ultramarine. Okay, we're just gonna take straight ochre instead of the black ochre. I guess that's it. Yeah, that's okay. I was worried it wasn't gonna get dark enough. It isn't, but it works for the middle. Why did I put that? That is just a ochre-y spot. What am I doing? That's this spot right here. Okay, just scrape that off. And worry about that in a minute. That's really the only part that is that weird green. So I'm gonna add some black. Anyway, Dyce William kind of like to outline his shapes, I'm noticing. And he does smooth the transition. It's not a harsh outline, kind of cartoony or anything, but he does have a definitive outline, darkness on every edge that touches each other. You can see that like right next to the neck has a darkness there. The veil obviously is the big one. It's kind of the center is lighter, and then the outsides veer harshly towards sort of an outline look. Do I need to redefine any of that up here? It doesn't do smooth gradients or anything like that. Super smooth transitions. Also is very, very light right where I'd use his shoulder, and I have not accomplished that at all. That didn't really accomplish it either. Okay, going back to the other brush, we're going to paint into that a little bit. Merge the two colors. There we go. And then over here I want to do the same thing. What else is missing? I'm gonna add some of the yellow white to this white. And just do a little bit more right there. Because again with the outlining, it outlines in both directions I'm seeing. So there's like a white glow right next to that black glow. It makes it pop quite a bit. Not gonna lie, I'm a fan, I like it a lot. I've always kind of liked the outlining style though. Because you tend to, ooh, stick the finger in the paint. It tends to happen a lot. I always used to get yelled at for having too much of an outlined painting style in class. But it does help blending the edges or blending brush strokes together so you don't have an outline. Usually helps make everything a lot more realistic. And you can see that he does that really superbly in the faces and skin tones. So he's really strategic with when he uses an outline look versus a transition. And we're going to try to replicate that. There's also a triangle of cloud right here that I missed. And there's a lightness. It's, you know, it's very light right there. I don't know what I'm doing, playing around with this bluey color. The horizon line usually has a brightness to it because the sun is over there. Either the sun is, you know, shining through the clouds and like a sunset look, or it's the atmospheric, the atmosphere itself becoming more opaque and white. Bringing this white up a little bit higher. Not super happy with how these clouds are turning out. And I want to finish the look today as much as possible. So I'm going to keep coming back if it's bothering me. It's kind of the alla prima nature of things. He probably, well, okay, considering that you can literally see her neck through, William did not use an alla prima method, or not solely an alla prima method, which is a one shot, one day, do or die way of painting, versus a direct painting, right? So you paint what you see and you paint it to completion and then you're done. Use it a lot like in plein air, outside painting kind of thing. Working wet into wet specifically. Which is something that can kind of only happen in oils. You can't really do alla prima in acrylics, I would say. Because it just dries so fast. Like this paint up here has been, where are we at with time? Good morning, welcome. With an hour in, right? It's still wet. just as wet as when I started. Though, holy cow, it's already an hour. I need to get on with the painting. But if I don't like what it ends up looking like, I'm not going to go back and change it tomorrow. So I want it to look good today. Also, with the amount of white that I'm adding in today, this will probably be wet tomorrow. White dries some of the slowest, especially the white that I have. No, this is the Gamlin one. This is the one we tested. I took a class and we were testing it, and half the class had Winsor and Newton white, and that dried super slowly. Like theirs paintings were wet for like days on end, wherever it was really white. But mine and the other woman who had Gamlin dried pretty fast, but it took at least a day. And I've noticed that even with some of these ones that I've been doing, it does take at least a solid day to day and a half for the Gamlin white to dry when you use a lot of it. I'm going to go on to some yellow ochre, and I'm going to get this part that I totally bungled down there when I just put the entirely wrong color down. Okay, this is going to be too light, but I'm going to mix it in with this green. This is pretty much just yellow ochre plus, what did I use? Cad red? The yellow ochre cad red mix. I'm going to add a little bit more. Well, I'm just going to use the cad red, I think, for this. That's too light. Oh, but I'm so tempted to just start laying it in there. No, we're not doing that part yet. So I'm going to add some black, which is literally this color right here. And I think I'm going to add some raw umber. Because this little hillock is warm. It needs a bit more black. I'm also running out of black. This needs to be a little bit more warm, so I'm going to go back to the other. I have two brushes now, one that's a warm and one that is a cool, the darker shadow and the lighter shadow. Down. Adding in some warm on the sides. This is not dark enough. But is this light part dark enough? I'm gonna say that it is good for now. And I'm gonna do a little bit down here. Yeah, that's closer. And then there's some like highlights, which that easily could just be glare. We're not gonna worry about it, we're gonna paint it. Adding in more black, and I'm definitely gonna need to get more black out. Where's the black? Is this it? Yeah, I'm running out. Adding it down here first, because I'm gonna add a little bit of linseed oil. I think I did this yesterday as well. But I've been noticing, well, also the ultramarine. But I've been noticing that the black always sinks in. Always. But on some of the paintings I was doing this last week, they sunk in so much. And one thing to do to help prevent that to be as much is to add linseed oil from the start. Even though, so if you know oil painting, you want to do lean to fat. Fat over lean. Fat means the oil itself, and lean means no oil. So even with that, you're like not supposed to add oil on the lower paintings in theory. But with the neutral colors, the brown and the black, right? So the umbers, the earth tones, anything made with clay is going to be really absorptive. And so it can take extra oil. It can take a lot of oil. So adding in a little bit of oil at the beginning, even in the first layer of painting, is not bad for these colors, such as black and the browns. But adding extra oil in the white would be a bad idea, because white doesn't absorb oil very well at all. I'm also not doing a multi-layer painting, so the fat overlaying principle matters less. But I definitely wouldn't want to add a ton of oil to this very first layer, even if it was going to be my only layer. Also, because then you have the problem that I had yesterday with the burnt umber. With too much oil. This wants to have more. Let's do ochre. Not ochre. This is the 2 umbers. I messed up. Raw umber. Raw umber, burnt umber. I don't know why I really like the raw umber, burnt umber mix. I tend to find myself mixing 2 colors together all the time. Like the umber and black and the burnt umber and the raw umber. Sometimes I wonder, is there a paint out there that is quite simply that color? There probably is. I just don't know what it's called. And it's not always useful. Sometimes you see artists paint with a very distinct palette of colors that is like their palette of colors. I'm sure you've seen it on like Instagram if you're on there following a lot of other artists. First Tuesday of the month. Okay. Tornado siren. We're good. It's just a test. I feel like I was going crazy there. I feel like I haven't heard the tornado siren in so long. Oh, they'll have their own, like, even their own mixed tubes of paints, like Annie Stieg, I think is her name on Instagram. Fantastic artist if you haven't followed her. She's amazing. But she has her own little line of, I'm putting too much green in there. I need to go warmer. Her own line of oil paints, or colors at least. And that's because she knows exactly which color she leans towards. But if you're starting out, highly would recommend don't get too bogged down in buying a million different colors, because that do be expensive. I'm gonna add a little bit more cad red and then some of the burnt umber. It's very expensive, especially when you're starting out, and it's not necessary. You can do so much with a more limited palette. This is not even a limited palette. Having 9 colors is not limited. Most artists would have said that this is an extremely variated palette. If you want to go limited, you can look up Zorn and Zorn's palette, which is incredibly black, I think vermilion or cad red. It's black, red, yellow, and white. 4 colors, that's it. And he does some insanely beautiful variated portraits with 4 colors. How? Because black is blue, and so you don't get a super vibrant blue, but then you can get a pretty good blue from adding white. And it works really well. So if you're curious about starting oil paints, this is the list that I use and that I know a lot of artists use. This is I think it's I don't even know, I'm not going to say the name. This lineup of colors has a name. A certain palette that a lot of old masters would have used. What am I doing here? This is like not... I feel like I'm going in circles. I'm not actually making progress. So let's pause and make some progress. Black and umber. Here we go. Add some extra contrast in there. And then this is like too light and too dark. So I'm not going to go there because I have dark on my brush. I'm going to do down here. Get that a bit more opaque. I was painting a little thin, which is what happens. So I'm just going to add another layer of black right on top. And then a little bit of contrast right in there. I'm blending that out on that side. And on that side. Then this, I'm going to go back to the other brush. Burnt umber. Burnt umber, ochre, cad red. That's the cad red ochre mix. I'm going to add some straight cad red again. And just a little bit more burnt umber. That's still not dark enough, so I'm just going to mix it down into the dark color and add a little bit more Cad red. And now just blending a little bit, depositing some of the new color, fuzzing it together with the old color. And that's kind of good enough. It just wants to be kind of dark and receded and vaguely landscapey. I'm depositing a little bit more here. How do I feel about that? I'm feeling that tomorrow I'm going to want to push it darker. So let's preemptively do a little bit more. Can you even see that far down? Yes, you can. Good, 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 good. The angle of the camera doesn't have the lip of the stuff in here, of the easel. Oh, also, if you're wondering how the paintings are staying up, they're taped. Never mentioned it, but usually you would have the top of the easel down and holding the top of the painting flat. I just use tape because it's a small painting. All right, now where do I want to start? The veil would make most sense because the veil is next to the sky and that's wet, and so I want to blend that together. Or I could do her shirt, the dress, the red. Thinking ahead also to how I'm going to accomplish the rest of the painting. I think today on this one I'm going to go back towards painting the face and the skin last, like I normally do once all the other colors are established. That usually really helps get the colors right. I'm not quite sure what this line is doing. Going up? It should be going down. What was I drawing? What was I trying to accomplish there? Okay, I'm going to do the veil. So, starting off, this dark brush that I was just using, I'm just going to use as the edge. Doesn't go all the way over the edge of the head, it just stops right about there. And then it comes out. I'm going to add a little bit more. Oh, we're getting risky. I still don't like how this burnt umber is acting. Instead of using burnt umber today, I'm swapping a little bit. I am using it though. But using, I'm going to actually make a little mixed pile of that. Raw umber plus red. Which makes a similar burnt umber kind of thing. This is exactly where the limited palette kind of comes in. Because there's no reason really to have burnt umber when you can make a burnt umbery color using your vibrant red and your raw umber. Things like that. And I'm going to use that. And I will figure out why my burnt umber is being annoying. It's just because it's separating and I'm not getting enough oil out, but it's being sad. Okay. I think I lost this edge a bit in the sky. It wants to come out a little bit farther. Wipe off the white that I'm picking up. I don't really know where to put my finger. The black coming out farther is perfectly acceptable. That'll make it a good blend in with the rest of the white, except that was a little bit too far. It's better up here, where there is a darkness that I need to add in. A darkness. There. And then I like finding the dark shapes first. This is still this dark color down here, which is Pop Quiz, black, ochre, cad red, burnt umber. I think that's the colors. Really good for this high contrast dark without being straight black. It has a definitive warm tint. And then this line is one of the lines. Scrubbing that in. It's very thin, which will be good for mixing on top. Then I want to get this tiny little triangle here, dark. And then one thing I didn't draw in is the connection between her back and neck, which is kind of like that, and then like that. Coming in here. Grabbing a bit more paint, mixing a bigger pile, making sure I'm adding more ochre back in, because I want it to be warm. Do I? Looking at it again, usually I would want a veil to be warm because a undyed linen is on the tan side, but this is a very blue veil. Very, if I was to say the color mixed with the white, is very cool. There are some warm accents though, hidden around. You know, I look at it, this little bump here that doesn't really make sense with the veil is the bun of her hair. Okay, but if he did paint it on top of it instead of tracing it over in the other version of this painting, we wouldn't have evidence of both paintings. I'm gonna have to look this up once the stream is over. It's driving me crazy. I want to know, why are there two of the exact same painting? But that is, I think I said this a little bit yesterday, because yesterday's painting had a similar thing. That artists do repeat their colors. Artists repeat their compositions. Wow, okay. Whoo, words. Word buckets, man. Artists repeat their compositions and will practice a larger composition or a more varied thing over time. Or in like William's sense, perhaps deciding later, what am I doing here? That line is not right. That he's a better idea for the veil. And an adjustment to Jesus's face, because Jesus' face changed. Mary's face barely changed. Wow. And in the last painting, the Virgin and Child with Angels is repeated exactly on a larger scale with Saint Catherine. It's like the adoration of Saint Catherine, kind of a nativity look, but having the saints. I think Joseph was added too. It's called the Holy Family with Saint Catherine or something like that. But the Mary and Jesus side part of it is just precisely the same. All right, I'm going to stop playing with this dark color, and I'm going to leave the brush, keep it for when I want to blend again. Grabbing a new brush, and I'm going to try to find the kind of light dark color, which is going to be, let's start with the cad yellow and white mix. Add a little bit of the burnt umber, which actually is really good because the white is thick and the umber is super thin today. It's a pretty color. But then it definitely needs black. Let's actually use the black ochre. That black made it so blue. Oh, wow. Adding the ochre makes it dark and neutralized without making it blue. What does this color look like? Is that color? Oh, wow. That's like almost that transitionary, weirdly blue, I have paint on my hand color. Since I found it, I didn't find it. It needs to be more blue. Do I want to use this anywhere though? I think I do want to use it here. Since I found it, I'm going to pause and just put it in. Because that's what I do. I think I also want to have it right on this edge a little bit. It does want to be a little bit more chromatic. So I'm going to do that. I'm adding in a little bit of the black. Oh, more of the same mix. I think maybe it wants white or yellow or blue or both. Or both. Probably both. I'm going to grab some of this, the greener blue sky mix. And just a tad of cad yellow. Here we go. A little bit there. This one has a lot of definitive shapes. Throat. So I'm trying to be more judicious in where I'm putting the paint. And thinking if this is an accurate enough color for that one spot and to not go anywhere farther than that spot. It's kind of good for down here too, though. Okay, I'm going to retire the brush because I like that color a lot. Grab a new brush, and we're going to continue on the way to finding that darker color. But I'm going to start over because I don't want to ruin that pool. A little bit of that burnt umber as well. I'll try a little bit of raw umber. A bit more burnt umber. And then ochre black, which I've run out of the dark version of the ochre black. And it definitely needs to go like 4 shades darker. You know, people say that it needs to go shades darker, that there's actually a color scale out there. I forget what it's called. There's this one guy who just painted all the different color combinations of different colors together in different shades. Oh, it'll come to me, maybe. And so when you can say like 4 shades darker, you can actually reference it off his shading thing and be like, actually 4 shades. Random fun facts. So this one has white in general, so it's more opaque than that dark that I was using earlier. I think I want a little bit of that blue from the sky, just a tad. There's a highlight in there from bouncing off this bright spot, so I'm avoiding that. And I'll add it in with a more appropriate color. Comes out like that. I need more paint. And then this edge is pretty defined. Here. And then what do I want to do here? There's a lighter spot there, so I'm just going to do that. Deposit a little bit of paint, and that's it, because I need a lighter color for sure. That is light. That's lighter. Okay, where else do I need this darker color? here in the middle would be helpful. And blending with that one white spot. And then it's lighter and then it's darker, right on the edge. A bit of dark up there. Do, 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 do. Now this is not a bad color for some of the darker details in here, since it's a little bit lighter. I didn't want to do these earlier. Well, except I probably should have done this one. Grab just a little bit of the blacker color. This edge, and then this edge has a darker shadow right next to it as it attaches to the red of the dress. So I'm gonna grab my black dark brush, and sure, I'll use the black and alizarin color. Just place a little bit of that there, so that when I come in tomorrow, knowing that that's the black alizarin mix, I can easily find that color again and blend into it and have a nice transition there. Oops, that's a bit dark. We'll just do that, and then I'll end up painting on top of it a lighter color, but that'll be good. There is like a tiny little harsh line there. Back with the other darker veil color brush. This color. Pops in. It does a lot of zigzagging down here, which is pretty cool. Let's take off the edge there. I'm getting shadow. It's pretty smooth there, actually. I'm gonna shift this a little bit lighter, so I'm gonna add some of the blue sky mix plus some ochre with a little bit of black mix, a little bit more of that ultramarine white. That's not quite light enough, but actually I think I like it for this shadow, which is the color I was going for. There. And there. And ooh, that works. This is not so bad for this right here too, which has gone all stripy. So I'll have to go back in and adjust that. But this works for a bit of a lighter here, and the beginnings of this highlight, or this bounce light, with maybe a little bit of help from some white. Okay. And some parts here have gotten a little thick, so I want to make sure I am picking up some of that excess paint so that I can blend better when it comes down to adjusting edges. I don't want to be fighting gobbles of paint. That actually is a lot of like warmth right there, so I'm gonna not use it because this color I have on my brush right now is rather cool. I like it for that color up there. It's perhaps a bit green. That's okay. It's definitely a good base. That's going to be very light, so I'm avoiding those. Still working dark to light. You know what I will do? I have... Oh no, it's gone. Wait, what? Is it this brush? Possibly. I was going to say I was going to grab the light color that I was using down here because that was warm and use that brush, but that brush is gone. It does not exist anymore. Also, okay, so this comes here and then has a pivot angle right there. That has a darkness, so going away from that. That works as a medium there. I'm missing I just went over that dark line. The next color I'm going to get is going to be much lighter. So I'm trying to make sure I get all of the dark spots that I want defined right now. Defined. It is time. What is this color? This is this one. What does this feel like as the highlight for this shadow area? If I can get enough paint on the brush. I really like painting fabric. Something very satisfying about getting the highlights and shadows in the right spot. Like even in the next still life I have and the one I did originally, I used fabric in both, and it's just... Fabric makes everything look so fantastical. I think that's what I really love about the old sacred art, all the old masters, is that their use of fabric and just like the style of the time, right? Because a lot of these are models based off the clothing of the era. And how fabric can look so heavenly. Okay, I think that's a bit light. But I think it also is... I don't have some of that dark contrast yet. That's a good block in. Yeah. I don't know what it is about fabric that makes it look so nice. This wants to be... There's a transition color there, and then it goes really white, and I just went over the black. C'est la vie. Back to that brush I was using in this pile. I didn't get this part in. Kind of just blending those edges, I guess. This could go... Well, I was gonna... Okay, let's just add a little bit of... This is the Cad red umber mix. I need just a little bit of that so I can fill in this little area with something that's a little bit warmer. I want the darker color. The darkest dark. Oh. I don't know what color that was. That was very dark. Redefining some of these shapes. That kind of got lost when I was doing everything else. And then there's one right here that I didn't put in. Then this goes like this. And then up. It has a little buddy here. And then also comes down and creases there. Yeah. And while I have this color, I can redefine some of those spots down here that I've gotten lost. And then I can better see if I need to make those highlights go darker or lighter. Or if they're good the way they are. This right now I'm just blending in this dark color into it and kind of doing the next steps before I have that, before I even bother to put the white in of the rest of the veil. Normally I wouldn't really be doing this until the entire shape was filled in, but this little section here is so much darker than everywhere else that there's no really reason not to, and it might even help. This little highlight is much smaller. Like that. Grabbing just a little bit more paint. All right, am I just stalling or am I actually doing progress? One of the more important questions while I paint. Am I just procrastinating, moving on, or am I actually doing things? If I'm just procrastinating, just move on. Okay. Everywhere else is very white. Okay, new brush. It is time. It is time. I could either do these halftones and then do the white, or I could do the white and then the halftones. I think I'm gonna lay the white and then work. I don't really need to lay the white. Okay. Whew, sorry. Whew. Yawny, yawny. I'm just gonna add some white over here to this in-between color that I liked earlier. Add a little bit of the burnt umber. We're just really utilizing the fact that that has a lot of linseed oil in it. Straight yellow ochre with some lightened ultramarine. And this time just a little bit of cad yellow. Okay, if I can get any on my brush. Okay, that might be a bit... No! That could be good. That could be really good. Why? Okay, I don't remember why I left that gap. It's an in-between color, I think. Okay, this is a good highlight, and I have one color in between that I need to find. Okay, ooh, I like this color. I think it's this entire shape, except for a tiny bit right there. That needs to blend a lot more. Okay. You know, I think nope, that's her hair. That's her hair popping through. I was gonna say it's the background, but it's definitely her hair. And it's warm, so I'm gonna add just a little bit of warmth. I could accomplish it through leaving some of the this raw umber-ish color coming through. That would work really well. And in some ways I will be doing that anyway. Okay, using this color again, I'm gonna make a little bit more. Just a little bit of white, bit of the ultramarine and white mix, bit of ochre, bit of yellow, too dark, add more white. I could just be using the white-yellow mix. But I do want it to be a little bit more blue. Yep, that's a good color. Okay, this is probably a little bit light. That is, okay, hold on. I need to get that color in. Using this medium tone brush, I'm gonna grab some of the excess paint that's been sitting out there. That's got some like ultramarine in it or something. That is too dark. I'm gonna use some cobalt with some cad yellow, which is gonna make a really vibrant green. That may just be this color. Okay, that's gonna need a smooth transition. That needed some more blue. So we'll grab a little bit more. Pull it out of yellow towards blue. And then that could work here as well to get that one little sliver of empty canvas. And by canvas, I mean linen, if you were wondering. Oh, okay, okay, back to the white, because that has gone out of control. Okay, what am I sitting like? Painting vertically helps keep the dust out of the paint and is much better for your back, whether you sit or stand. Okay, wait, this needs a little bit of highlighting there. The best would be standing, but I leave steam really fast when I stand, I noticed. Though I might. Who knows? This is not gonna be light enough, so I'm gonna add more white. So this is now just a little bit off-white. Trying to keep it thin. These are the subtle shadows on the veil. A little bit there. Then I want that little vibrant blue-ish yellow, whatever color. To go right on this edge. Usually the transition between a shadow and a highlight is very chromatic. And definitely William did that. I'm not going chromatic enough. FYI. I know this. I will adjust later. There. Chromatic is saturation, in case you're wondering. I'm gonna grab a new brush. And this brush is gonna be pure white. And I'm gonna color in... Wait. I was gonna color in the rest of the veil, but I might as well get some of this almost in between white down in here. I've lost this highlight. I love the way the veil looks so weighty and voluminous on the head. And then as it transitions into like coming together at the neck, it suddenly transitions into looking a bit more like silk. It's such a cool contrast, and it makes it look so much more delicate and effortless to wear. That has a little bit of a shadow in between. I'm just gonna fill it in though, because I picked up a bit of the brown from the shadow, so it worked. This is not pure white. I'm looking for anywhere that's very white, but not pure white. which is kind of that color right there. Put in the wrong spot. I'm gonna pull it into a bit more of the darker colors, I think. No, I'm not. That's way too dark. What am I doing? Back out, Mayday. Yeah, no, that's gonna be plenty dark. This is, if anything, going kind of green. But I'm okay with that. Alright, now... Now we go for straight white. Yes. I thought I grabbed a new brush. Okay, well, whatever. New brush. Do I want a filbert? A filbert will push it around better, but I won't be able to get the detail. I'm going to use a round. Where's my good round? I'll use this a little bit of a longer round. This is very thick. White is really easy to manipulate when you go very slowly, but when you brush too fast, it kind of gets out of control. This is very white. Wow, I really didn't add that much, like, color there, but that difference is very abrupt. Now I'm trying to think if I want that to be the actual highlight of the painting, that white, or if I want to, adjust it a little bit. I think I want to adjust it. So I'm going to scrape it off, because also that's super thick, and there's more than sufficient enough paint for that entire, like, triangle of area. And I'm gonna take out some of the paint from the brush so I can use that brush again. I'm gonna grab that much paint from that pile and just a bit from the sky. That might even be too much. But this Gamlin white is pretty strong. It adjusts color quickly, but it does stay much stronger than some other whites, especially student grade white. If you want to get to professional paints out of student grade paints, you get white first, in my opinion. All right, that's mixed. All right, let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, that is much less vibrant. All right. And you lay it in slowly. White is kind of like icing a cake. Tapping also helps to get it into all the crevices of the weave. And I'm feeling going to with filbert. I have filberts aplenty. So loading up the brush quite a bit first. Yeah, that was a good call. The goal right now is to simultaneously cover all of the exposed linen while not covering it with a color that I don't like, obviously, but I don't want to be bringing this white too much into the shadows, but I do definitely want all of the linen to be covered. that's gonna get mixed in with other colors. So this edge is very clearly defined as ending in white. There isn't much transition there. I mean, there's no shape for it to turn around, so it makes sense. It's just the edge of the fabric. And William left that very crisp. And then the transition comes with the skin underneath. I think that I would like, in a second, to add in a little bit of that transition so that it's ready to go for the next day when I get to the skin tomorrow. I'm getting paint on the cords. Okay, adding it down here now. Filberts are kind of nice because you can get a nice line. In a lot of ways easier than you can with rounds. The different brush shapes are useful to know what they can do and what they don't do. In a lot of ways, finding out what brush shape you like best is kind of whatever your hand makes sense. But, like I got these filberts for one class and then I got the rounds for another class. And usually I used to just use angles. But it always bothered me that I never saw any artists ever using angles. I was like, why don't they use angles? I don't quite know why still, but I do know that the rounds are the brushes that all of the old masters would have used. It was only in the Industrial Revolution that we got other shapes. And knowing that and analyzing paintings for master copies as I started to do those, it made a lot more sense how some brush strokes were definitely done with rounds versus other things. So I've kind of been forcing myself to get better at it. This is really white on that side. Actually, it was just the wrong shape. All right, so that's laid in. Rounds are very good at blending in small areas. And I find, like I was saying, that my brush strokes usually are outliney and not very blended together. Transitioning to rounds actually made that a lot easier to bridge the gap and blend those edges a bit more, just because the point is really precise, and it can deposit little bits of paint and you get kind of a scumbling look instead of a brush strokey look. So if you like the brush stroke look, rounds are probably not the best brush. I don't really know, but if you like the smooth, no transition or no visible brush strokes look, rounds can be really helpful in getting to that spot. I'm adding a little bit, okay, making sure my brush finger is not in the paint, but I'm adding a bit more chroma on this side as it turns around and gets folded back. And I'm going to have to add a bit more dark on the other side. Now I'm looking through all of it and finding all of the tiny transitions. First I was looking for roughly the same color and roughly this shape. But now I'm going to go in and really look at everything, make sure it's the shape that I want and the color that I want. Make some dark. Brushing out some of the strokes there. This little back bit does stick out a bit, like right up here. That wants to be almost straight black, and I've mixed too many colors in that it is no longer straight, very black. I'm not going to fix that right now, but that's just a note. A little pin in that thought. Okay, this shape is wrong. I'm gonna add some just straight black. Getting too many other colors in there. Down, I think this needs to shift over. This also has a more definitive edge to this shadow. And now the white of that is totally messed up, but I'm not going to worry about it for a second. Okay, there's a shape here that I've lost. I'm going to draw the outline of it in. Since the outline is a little bit darker. And so that I can see it. I'm going to have to go in with the more chromatic color. This shape is also a little too fat. Let's grab that chromatic color for a second. It's this one over here, this little pile. As I'm adding it back in, I'm getting too much white on my brush, so I'm just wiping it off. It's not gonna help on that side. It's gonna help down here a little bit. And then it has this subtle blue shift up here as it begins to round the head. Don't want to make that too aggressive. Edging, and then I think I need to make a more chromatic color again. I think it's gone a little bit out of brightness. So that is ultramarine and green, yellow to make green, plus yellow ochre. Yeah, a little bit more ultramarine. Ultramarine will make it, I was debating between the cobalt and the ultramarine. The ultramarine will make it a little bit more dull, less chromatic, because it's on the warm spectrum of blues. But I need a little bit more of the yellow ochre, which for the same reason is a little bit dull. And then adding more green back. Yeah, that's probably how I feel about that. Let's see, it's a bit green. Yeah, let's add a little bit more ultramarine to that. That's gonna make it dark, so I'm gonna add a little bit more white. Don't add a little bit too much white. This transition needs to be a lot smoother. I need to go back in with the white there. Ooh, sticking finger in the paint. That's fine though. I think I need to go back to the white. I'm gonna go to the highlight right before the really bright white. It's a bit darker than that. All right, let's fix this weird back crease. Mostly just smoothing out and adding a little bit more paint. And then right on this edge, I need to get rid of that. And then this shape does not do that shape. But I'm pausing a bit because I want to go back in with the dark. But I have some more paint on this brush. Mixing some dark into that. I'm going to go back to the white with the filbert. Blend that in a bit more. That shadow is actually very dark. Ooh! Getting a little bit, not the right color there. So this is all very the same, and it gets fatter in the middle, and then skinnies back out. I'm gonna grab the white round. No, I'm gonna grab a smaller round. Load it up with some white. Smaller round is slightly less flexible than that bigger one that I was about to use, which is just a little bit easier to control when it's with white. I'm gonna grab that same size brush. And I want to find that skin color that I can put right on the edge to define that they're two separate shapes. And then I'll find that tomorrow on the skin tone. So it's kind of a brown. It's dark, but I do believe it has a little bit of white in it. It's definitely too dark. I'm gonna add some of the ochre red instead of white. Ochre is a good lightening agent. Well, that is still super dark. Okay, we're gonna add white now. Let's get the yellow white. This is actually not the worst color for the hair. It's actually... We're gonna do the hair today, apparently. Okay, so that's kind of a good enough placeholder. I think I'm going to do a little bit more of the neck right now. That doesn't matter too much. I don't want to do all of the neck because I need the neck to blend more with the rest of the neck rather than... I care more about that than the veil. There, and then I need just ever so slightly to bring that crease up. And then there's a deeper dark there. And right on the edge of her face, or the hair. And then right in there. And then right on the edge. Going into the clouds. And then this is actually very crisp. Where that transition. The hair is above the hair. The veil has thickness. Okay. Oh well. It's not supposed to be doing the hair right now. Grabbing another small brush. I have multiple of every size brush. Hold up, I'm going too brown. I need to go more ginger. Oh, he's a Scottish artist. Oh wait, that's actually what I wanted to say about that. She's very ginger. That was actually kind of the whole thing, now that I think about it. But from like Scotland, Ireland, not a stretch to imagine that William would have seen, you know, this is like the common woman in the area. Which I just love. Then again, I don't actually know where he studied. Actually, I think it said he went away from Scotland to study and then came home. Or something like that. Okay, I'm going to stop talking before I start saying really random stuff. But she does look kind of like from the UK. There's like this... Okay, I need to fill in more. Okay, I'm also... Sit up. I might just do... Oh. I grabbed a new brush and then I went back to the old brush. Okay. And I am, of course, going way too brown-haired. Then again, also with the that other version of the painting, she was very dark brown-haired. And then when he either redid the painting or went on top of it, or whatever happened there, she went distinctly more ginger, which is fascinating. I don't know why I drew this dark line right there, because it doesn't... It blends very nicely with the skin tone. Oh, so now I wrote it. That is brought down way too far. What is hair? I'm gonna grab just the white yellow and make this the white brush. I don't know why hair confuses me. It's just strands coming together, but alas, here we go. I'd almost say I'm better at hands than at hair. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna make kind of a cad orange color, which is just cad red and cad yellow together, with much more cad yellow than red. Yeah, there we go. I might make it more red though. And then use that to highlight certain notes of the hair. And then go to the cad red umber mix. Add a little bit of burnt umber too. Okay, well, okay, maybe I should clean my brush off. Whoops. I just went right through what the actual highlight was supposed to be. Ah! Alright. That's a good base. I am going back to the veil because that's what I really need to finish today. That... Oh, well. Okay, wait. Wait. Give me some of that. Why did I mix the flesh tones? I'm a fool. Just gonna... Okay. There's all these little details in there. Little individual brush strokes. Or pieces of hair. Okay. I'm officially leaving that. That should be dry tomorrow, that I can adjust it if I hate it again. Pull this back into view. Where was I on the veil? Okay. If you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Throw them in a comment down below if you're watching after the live. I would love to answer your questions if you have them. There's only so many questions I can imagine in advance and talk about, so I don't mind the interruptions at all. Not really even an interruption. Probably starting to get more distracted by the music. I love these songs though. I think I want to switch to a darker brush. This is not the same white all the way up here. I don't know what I'm doing with that. But that is a definitive shape. This kind of angles farther down before going over. Okay, the hair was kind of a welcome break from this. I feel much more confident working on the veil now, after I stopped looking at it for a little bit. Oh my gosh, I still have the red paint on my hand. It's not going away. Every time I lift my hand up, I see it, and I think I'm bleeding. It's just paint though. This is a darker line. And then that makes this shape. I almost don't want to draw in the translucency. A bit because it's just annoying. And because I know that it wasn't done alla prima, it was done in actual layers. I don't think I will. But also this is like vastly the wrong shape right here. Wait, how far up does that go? Gotta go back to the light brush. Gotta say, this is one of the benefits of good brush management. I'm not getting too many colors on each brush. I don't need to go back down to the palette as often as I'm painting. I can just swap brushes and there you go. I got the right color. something I never used to do. That I used to paint with just one brush. I hated cleaning brushes. Or rather, in addition, because I don't clean the brush while I'm painting, I hated buying all the brushes until I took a class that required us to buy the brushes, and then I tested out having like 3 of each kind of brush, and it was so nice. And then they don't feel like they wear out as fast because you're literally not wearing them out by washing them a ton in one painting, or rubbing them on the towel. But also just having multiple of them. I might not use all of the same size brush in one day, so I'll only use, a couple of them. So they literally get less use. It's kind of nice. Okay, I need to go into the transition color. And figure out what is going on here. Okay, I'm adding too much green down here. I'm gonna use this brush. Ooh, don't lose that one though. It needs to be whiter. Okay, I'm gonna grab some white. I'm gonna make a browner version of this medium. Ah! I don't know which black brush I want. I guess I'll just use this one. What is going on here? I feel like I keep redoing the same thing and not really figuring out what's wrong. Okay, there's a little bit of a highlight in between there that I need to reestablish. Smoothing out all of those strokes. Add a bit more of a defined shadow there as this roll turns. then a bit darker as a separate shape so it doesn't face the light as much as this side. Zigzags back here. This color is wrong. I'm gonna grab this medium. Well, it's not so much wrong as it was really thin. So just adding another layer. This needs to not bulge out. Instead, it needs to actually go up with the dark shape. Grabbing that dark brush though, I think I want to use it to define some of these areas better. It's quite dark right here. Needs a bit more right here. Okay, this. So what we got here is this, it hits and it turns and it goes in the shadow. The shadow itself is kind of light. Wow, I have no good brush for that. We'll just make this brush a bit lighter. But then it comes down like here. I was having the pivot point too far over, I think. And then there's light spots like that. And here. And then it spreads out. And then same here. Well, I was gonna switch brushes, but it's kind of too late now. I will go back for the white. Wait, no, the white, that's tiny. Right, I forgot about that brush. All right, and then defining this edge is abrupt. No, okay, here we go. I'm gonna blend this edge together so it's a nice smooth transition to the white. I'm gonna go with the dark and push this back because I think that's a good value, but it just needs to sink in as a concave shape. And then that. This needs to go darker as well. Whoa, that was very dark. Very dark. This shape is not really doing what it wants. There. And then there's some really dark details. Oh, that was a little bit too dark there. But this kind of turns that roll around. And there. And then it's dark all through here. I'm going to grab the medium. Just tap that into a little bit less of an aggressive shift. But those transitions are really tiny in the painting, so I'm gonna leave it, I think, like that. Okay, grabbing the white. Don't land it right. Okay, can I reach that? Just threw my brush across the room. Okay, it's gone forever. I cannot reach that unless I very much get up. I'm just gonna get a new brush. Alright. Moving right along. Okay, this shape is not doing what I want it to be doing. Oh, this is the brush with the weird... Like 3 of the strands got pushed out of alignment. And I keep forgetting to fix it. Just chop it off. I'm gonna shift this over just a little bit. I'm gonna blend this just a little bit. Okay, going with the medium color, I'm gonna go in with this vibrant color and adjust this because it doesn't feel dark enough up here. Something like that. Okay, I'm seeing a new part. Making a bit more of that vibrant color. This transition's just not right, and then I'm gonna go in with the dark black. And I'm gonna just redefine some little areas. And then I'm gonna get, okay, wait, I'm actually gonna get a new brush. And grab straight ivory black with the Alizarin ochre mix that I had earlier from the beginning of the mix. Paint on my hand. And I'm gonna do, oh! Getting paint on my hand. Okay. Getting this edge nice and contrasty like William did. The white of the sky is very dark, or wet. This isn't really depositing as well as I would like. Oh wait, that worked. Just tapping it in. There we go. All good, all good. Doing something like that. And then this comes out just a little bit. Kind of getting rid of some of these flyaway strokes. Just making every transition a little more defined, a little smoother. Like when you mix two colors together on the canvas, you get little raised parts of unmixed color, also kind of known as the brushstroke. So knocking all of those down makes it look a lot cleaner, and the transition's better. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. Now that I have most of the shapes pretty well established. Oh, no. No, I done and lost some of them. Alright. This transition is still a little upset. Oh, no. Getting rid of a little bit too much of it. So, okay, it has this change in angle right there that I lost. And then it has this one little light spot right there that kind of defines it as it turns. Is that in the right spot? And then this is not as dark. Why am I using that brush? I should be using the medium. Okay, how do I feel about that? This area has a bit more swag. This goes down before it comes back up. Maybe not quite like that. We're approaching the end of the veil. Okay, this does that. No. It comes down before it hits that crease. It goes like, it's like a 3-step transition. I'm smoothing some of those transitions out. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that went a little bit too light. I know you can't really tell because of the shadow of the light on that, but I think I want it to go a little bit darker. Now that I shifted that down, I kind of need to redefine the darkness of this transition. Whoopsies, getting a little black where I don't want. I'm looking at the camera now and seeing that I have black on that brush and not white. Okay. There. And then this black spot is a little bit less fat. something more like that. And then also though that the shadow, I kind of lost the shadow on the underside of this roll. Okay, and then go back to the white, which make sure it has white on it. Same thing here, actually. I'm kind of losing this intermediate transition on the underside of this roll, which has both the dark on the outside and the bounce light on the inside. Shadows are really interesting. Sometimes very hard to get all of the definition into one little tiny shape. Okay, whatever I just did there is not right. Oh, okay, that's a little bit too much white. Too much. Too much, too much, too much. And then I want white. Oh, right. I remember saying that. I did not redefine this white. And then add just a little bit more of it down here, but not quite as light. Until it gets all the way to the edge, and then it's very white right here. Okay. This little triangle of a shape, I feel like it needs to come just a little bit further back. And I have just a little bit more of a little white glow right on the edge. Same with up here. How do I feel about that? I think I need to go back to the medium color. Okay, this is not going to be light enough. I want it to be a little bit more blue, I think. Mix it in with some of the light. And this, okay, no, that's just not going to work. I'll lay it down, and then I'm going to go to the white brush. And then just blend on the canvas, because meh, it's fine. And I want to turn and then blend nicely out. It'll be a little different than this little highlight transition we got going on right here. And then it does want to come down a bit more and have a bit of an angle. And mounts be smoother right here. If I can find the right color. Yeah. And then it wants, this is not so smooth. It wants to butt in a little bit right there. V in and out. Since it's not a perfect cylinder. Wipe that off. Grab a little bit more white and fix that. My hand is in the paint. The edge. No. And then I want the dark. And I want to define, I guess it is there a little bit, but I want to just define this a little bit more. And then the bounce light on the other side. And then actually it goes horizontal on here with little divots as the fabric puckers. Which is a crazy detail that I totally would have missed if I was looking at real life. Props to William. trying to make that a little bit more chromatic, but it also needs to stay lighter. So maybe something a little bit like that, and then adjusting this just a tad. Oops. Okay. And then there's something about this thing that I don't like. I don't know. It's a bit in the glare. Sorry about that. Just adding a light glow of white, I think. Oh! Okay, not gonna lie. I was looking at the reference and not my paint. Oops. Okay, going to the dark. To change that to the opposite direction. I want it to be darker, not lighter. I think I am pretty happy. Wait, actually, hold up. What am I seeing? This comes up farther. And then there's another little transition there. There you go. I'm gonna add a little bit of a glow right here. A little bit of a bounce light. And then I want the dark to define the edge of where it's different from the fabric behind it. And then that wants to smoothly transition away. So harsh, a little bit harsher on the bottom, and a very soft transition out of that brush stroke going up. Even switching to the medium brush to get that transition better. You know, this little like whatever is going on here is way too low. I don't even know. There's a lot of subtle colors going on right here. Try to add little highlights, and I don't have enough white on my brush. There we go. All right, this is all I'm gonna get to today. It's getting a little late, so I'm not gonna start anything else. But tomorrow, actually, you know what, while I'm here, tomorrow I'm gonna work on everything. I don't know if I'll get to everything else. We'll see. I would like this to take only 2 days. But I also like this painting enough that I don't want to rush it. And if it needs 3 days, it needs 3 days. There's quite a bit going on here with baby Jesus fully visible and Mary fully visible. So this is actually the first one that I've done with this much. Just many people in it. But it's a good transition. Starting with first just working on the faces, and now I'm going to be, not super soon, but I'm going to be adding in more that are like this, where it's a little bit farther back, work on more of the fabric rather than just the profile of the face. The main part of this training arc is to get better at doing full scale, highly detailed, with lots of symbolism, sacred art. And not just portraits, but you gotta start somewhere. So, yeah. You know, hold up. I'm gonna go into the blue. The blue. Oh, the blue is gone. Okay, grab a little bit more of it. And I'm gonna give, since there's like no transition here, so I'm gonna give it a bit of a rounding over with the blue. Yeah. This paint up here is feeling a little bit sticky, but it is also definitely still wet enough to get a little bit of a transition blend in. Blue there, and then I wanted to do a little bit of white. And then blue to get rid of this outside edge of the transition. All right, and that's as far as I'll get today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you here tomorrow as we hopefully finish off the rest of the painting. But that's it. If you like the stream, leave a like there. Helps get that out there and promote it so more people can find it. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hit the bell, little notification bell. Really helps out. And that is it. Have a fantastic day, everyone. I hope you have a great day. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.